the match because they just killed each other and they're just that's the moment. That
I want non-wrestling fans to look at my photos and think wrestling's cool. That's what my ultimate goal was. And if I can help, you know, the Fuerzas or the Vertigos or the Wheelers or the Threats get more bookings based on the photos that I'm taking of them because it looks a little bit more professional, then I'm doing something great for Ontario indie wrestling. If someone looks at their Instagram accounts and goes, man, this guy looks really, really good based on my photos, not taking away anything from their actual skill because all of them are phenomenal. But if I can help, then I did when I first called Lionel and said, you know, is there value to this? I'm doing what I wanted to do. So my style has changed a little bit. I do take a lot more action shots, but I got to make sure that what I'm releasing looks like what they're doing. So if I look at a photo and I can't differentiate who's doing the move or what that move is, trash.
That's how you decide at the end of the night. Once you've shot, let's say, 500 photos for the night, or even more. 500. So let's say, okay.
I do about 2,500 to 3,000 photos for every show.
So out of those 3,000 photos, let's go with the large number. Out of those 3,000 photos, what does it segue down to being the final file, like the final run of the show?
If it's a really, really good show, 250. And if you break that down to 8 matches, that's not a lot of shots per match. I'm not going to do simple math. It's generally between 20 to 30 photos per match.
Yeah, your math's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's roughly what I released, 20 out of
3,000 shots.
I think the Josh, Josh versus Simon Grimm.
Simon Grimm, yep.
I took 450 photos of that specific match, and I just comped it down to about 75, and I'll probably get that specific match down to 40 by the time I release it. Wow. Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot of post production that goes into mine. There's a lot of great photographers out there, wrestling photographers. A lot of great ones out there that take their 2,000 photos and upload every single one of those photos. You might find 200 really, really, really good photos, but you have to sift through 2,000 photos to get there. So you might think, the photographer's good, but he's not great. And I think that's what the difference between me and everyone else is I'm taking so much more time out of my day to really just take what looks best. So you're literally only seeing the great. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad photos that I take, but I think that's what differentiates a good photographer in 2019 to every other photographer who just, has a camera and can take good photos. They're just releasing it all. I'm making sure that it looks great on my end, so I look like a great photographer, and so that the two wrestlers in the ring look great, and that the promotion looks great. Because if I take shots of a promotion and they might not have the best lighting, I don't want to release everything. I want to make sure that, maybe I do only release 40 photos of your show, but those 40 photos are the best. I have probably, another 100 of them that still look really, really good on my end on the wrestlers.
These are the
ones, and these are going to make that promotion look the most professional.
So that's kind of the whole end game. As much as you're trying to grow your name and grow your business, you're also giving back at so many levels. You're helping the promotions. You're helping the wrestlers on the card that given night. Yeah. So it's a huge real give and take situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in terms of,
I look at myself, and anyone can argue this and tell me I'm wrong, but I look at myself as part of the promotion, not a photographer that's getting hired to come shoot. I am backstage, which a lot of photographers are not. I talk to the boys. I ride with the boys. I am close with them because if we have that relationship,
they're going to trust you.
They're going to trust me
over anybody else.
They're going to work really well with me. They're going to, it just creates a bond. It's the same as the band, right? Like as a band,
just going to say, it sounds like to me you're explaining to me about the way you're explaining to us about the way things work and playing in a band.
Yeah, when you're in a band and you're on stage with guys, if you have a better relationship with them, if you go out and have drinks with them, food with them, play video games with them, introduce them to your family, go on camping trips,
way more.
You're gonna have a better vibe on stage, and everything's just gonna come off more easily.
That sounds like the last 20 years of our friendship.
There you go.
Pretty much. But I've never liked you.
I've kind of liked you.
I've tolerated you.
Put up with you.
I've been catching that vibe a little bit.
I've tolerated
a
it.
little bit.
There's a lot of
I love
sexual
tolerating.
tension, but it's on his part.
You can cut it with a blunt plastic butter knife.
We try and make it work. It's a relationship that we just keep trying to make it work.
I broke up with him 18 times, but he keeps coming back. And it's
over.
obviously because of these dimples. That's the only logical reason. So in terms of, we'll get back to the closeness, the closeness with the boys and being kind of in that backstage environment. But in terms of, because you're mentioning as you're taking more action shots lately.
Yeah.
In terms of action shots, you only have that real split second.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the camera, you're shuddering like crazy, you're snapping. But sometimes I've noticed, or I've seen at the shows, because I've been dissecting it a little bit more and preparing for the interview with you. I've noticed that sometimes you'll actually kind of be talking, or there'll be some kind of, I want to say code or language that you share with the wrestler. It may not be like a performer coming in, but somebody that you've worked with times before. Like I've seen it where Josh will be in a corner, and Josh will just happen to look at you or look in the right direction of where he sees the lens out of the corner of the eye, and you get that shot. Is that something that you've worked, or something that you guys have kind of cohesively become because of the bond? Or does it just happen naturally?
Okay, so there was so much there. I would say, like...
I asked the tough questions.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
When it comes to, like, code and stuff like that, not really. And not anything that I'd probably be comfortable talking about. Kayfabe, bro. Kind of thing.
Got you.
With Josh or whoever is in the corner, when I have that really good relationship, Holden Albright is a really good example because he's a character, and I know him outside of his character, I think, pretty well. Like he's a good kid. We spent a lot of time together. Came over to my house the other night and shot together and hung out with my wife. And he's just a good guy. But like when you have that bond, you lose the moments. And like being a musician, you might understand this. Some of the best moments on stage had nothing to do with the music.
Exactly.
Where you would have a conversation with somebody that had nothing to do with the moment you were in.
Yep.
Right? Like you have a mistake, and it's how you get out of that mistake. And sometimes that's what you might be seeing. Mm-hmm. Whereas if Josh or Holden or anybody's in the corner and you see them say something to me, sometimes it's just us goofing off and being funny, and it has literally nothing to do with wrestling at all.
Mm-hmm. You coming to sets after, maybe that kind
stuff
of
like that.
I never wanted to sets after.
No, I didn't go in that way, but I meant when you only have that split second.
Yeah.
And getting those angles that you get, because you cover the whole ring.
Yeah.
You really do. Other than at the Dusty shows where it's a little tight by the fans, but you cover the other three sides really strongly. Sometimes you have that split second. You can see a setup.
When you said the whole thing about Josh giving me a nod or something like that, so those moments, it literally so a lot of it has to do with the relationship that I have with some of the people. Like Alexia Nicole is one of them. She always gives me a look when she has like a pose that she wants to hit, or Josh wants a specific shot.
Maybe people delegate that with you before.
Not so much, but when you're around it long enough, you just know.
You pick up on it.
Yeah.
And I can give people the nod as well, where if they kind of catch me under the eye and there's a spot, a moment that I want to capture, I'll just give them a little shake of the camera, and then they work me because they're pros, right? They're professionals, and they know where the hard cam is, and they know where the roamers are, and they know who to work. And I'm another one of those where they know I can work that hard cam, but if I work Jeff, I'm getting a photo tonight, and I can post that on Instagram immediately, and nobody might see this show for a month or two. So they always are looking out for me, and the great ones know it, and they literally know where I am. Now that split second stuff, a lot of that comes from me just being around wrestling for a really long time and knowing it really well. And again, I think that's what differentiates me from all the other photographers, where someone buys a camera, I'll go shoot some wrestling, whereas I'm the wrestling fan that went and bought a camera. So I'm the opposite, and I know it really well. Like I said, I used to manage, I used to help with promotions and stuff. So I have that. I don't know if it's an instinct or what it is. I know what
I would say it's a sixth sense for sure.
In a way, a big part of it is just I post a lot of Josh photos. Everyone knows that me and him are buddies, and everyone jokes about like mine and his relationship. But a lot of it is I watched a lot of his matches growing up. I watch a lot of his matches now. The reason why I post a lot of photos of him is because I know his move set. I know where he's gonna be. If I see him gearing up to something, I can kind of sense what he's gonna do. I know where I have to be
to capture that
angle. If I'm shooting you for the first time and I've never really seen your work, I've never,
you're just
really
trying to get to know each other.
I'm trying to get to know each other. I might miss every single angle because I don't know. I can't predict what the next move's going to be or what side you're going to do a kick from, like how you throw your punches, stuff like that. So a lot of it comes down to research. A lot of it comes down to knowing the guys and knowing the company, knowing, where the proper lighting is. Whenever I go into a venue for the first time, I literally walk around and just soak it all in and count the lights, count those lights, and I look how many lights are over the ring. What do those lights do? Do they flicker? Do they turn off and on? Or I always ask the promoters, like, is this the lights that run during the show? No, we kill those ones, we lift those ones. And that's a big part of it too, because if you're doing a move over there, I know there's no lighting over there. There's no point for me to be over there. I'm going to stand over here where the good lighting is and wait till you guys come into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I sometimes hint that to certain people saying, there's good lighting here.
Stay here, please.
Do what you want with it.
So you do the action stuff, you do the stuff. Do you also, have you done, I haven't really seen any of the work if you have, but have you done photo shoots with the wrestlers, like actual photo shoots?
Like promo shots, poster shots? I also do stuff backstage. I have a very strict policy that nobody sees those photos except for the promoters.
Of course.
So whatever I shoot backstage, I never release. I always just give it straight to the promoters. They do what they want. When it comes to promo shots, I love doing them. Something I've been getting into a lot more.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer the action in ring stuff, or are you because you're doing it more with the promo stuff? Are you starting to prefer that?
No,
the action stuff.
They're so different. They're so different. I love the promo stuff because it's more of a challenge for me because it's new to me, really new to me. But to be able to like have that one-on-one personal time with the wrestlers and it's just kind of I've shot wrestlers and then they go, oh yeah, this is going in an envelope and being sent to WWE, and I'm like,
yeah,
they're gonna have something that I collaborated on, and that might get that person a job.
And not even being in the game for a year.
Yeah.
Like at this point, to actually have that kind of notoriety already coming in for you, man.
I love the promo shots. It's really, really fun. When they're all said and done, that's when the wrestlers pop for the action shots and the in-ring stuff. But when they have the light wrapped around them and their definition, they're like, man, you really make my abs look insane and stuff like that. That makes me feel good because it's making them feel comfortable and confident in their bodies, I guess, because that's like a pretty vulnerable thing, right? Like, especially when I'm working with the females and they're like, I don't do this often. Can you help me pose? Or like I get the messages saying like, you shot me over the weekend. I was really self-conscious about my poses and stuff. Can you give me tips on how I can work on that? Like that shows that they're putting their trust in me and their vulnerability into me, and I can help them kind of get through things. And it was kind of cool because there was a female on the scene that reached out to me privately and asked me that kind of stuff that I had shot a couple times, and I could tell she was extremely uncomfortable with it. And then the next time that I shot her after I gave her those tips, I could tell that she literally went home and studied the stuff that I told her to work on and came back. And when I shot her the next time, I was like, she nailed it. Like she worked hard and you could see that she worked hard and she was very comfortable with it. And we got much better photos. So like that kind of stuff is just like so rewarding. But then like being able to capture a really cool enziguri.
Yeah,
of course. I got this like crazy shot from Destiny, from the Ritual, the Destiny Blackcraft show. I haven't released it yet, but it's Chris Dickinson giving Michael Elgin a pile driver, and his legs are cut off, which like broke my heart because I'm a big fan of like everything has to be in frame when I'm shooting something. But he's just giving him a pile driver. His legs are flat out, and he's like probably 1.5 feet off the ground, and I'm like, whoa. Captured it, Nailed it.
If there was a picture or a moment
Yeah.
from what you've shot so far,
Yeah.
that you could go back and say, you know what, this one here is really special to me. Forget about the special edition photos and stuff like
Yeah.
that. If there's one, maybe